Hello, welcome back to Corpse Party. Okay, there we go. So we're on to the 6th chapter, Mire. We're almost done with the game. Alright. Go ahead and get into it. Oh, little Yuka! The first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the ceiling of a dark, gloomy room with flickering, uncovered light bulbs. The random bursts of light they shone were so dim that they only just barely lit up the wood grain on the ceiling enough to see the patterns in it. The back of my head hurt the same way it would if someone had just pulled my hair really hard. I think hang on, let me move myself real quick. Just a little bit. Okay, just gotta be very careful not to cover the text. I couldn't do anything about it though, so I just frowned and waited for it to subside. Oh no. I wondered if I'd hit my head somewhere. Suddenly realized that my feet weren't touching the ground, and there was a cold sensation all along my back. I must have been lying down on a hard surface. I tried to move, but both my arms and both my legs had gone to sleep, and they wouldn't budge. I just have to keep lying here until I woke up. Gave up on moving and instead just stared up at the gloomy ceiling again. I knew it wasn't actually a person, but it actually did look like one. And he was glaring down at me with a hateful expression. It was creepy. Oh, that was it. It looked like the Scream, that much lunch painting we studied in class. Except this face was screaming in anger. He hated me. It looks like she's in the science lab. And, I think I know what's coming next. If only Big Brother were here with me. Just pat my head and laugh and tell me how silly I was being. I was still a little disoriented, but I turned and twisted my head the best I could manage to see if I could find him anywhere nearby. Why was I sleeping in a place like this, anyway? And why wasn't Big Brother at my side like he always was? Why were we in the school to begin with? Maybe the charm failed and this was our punishment? Maybe I was the one who messed it up. Probably shouldn't have even have been there. And if hadn't asked him to help me try to find a bathroom, we wouldn't be separated right now. Should have just held his hand and not let go. It could have lasted a little longer without peeing. Then we'd still be together.
お兄ちゃんとはぐれてから私はどうしたんだっけ。
Oh, okay. So they were looking for. So I'm trying to remember the last game. They were looking for the bathroom. The ones in the second floor were out. They went to the second building. How did they get separated? They got separated through some shenanigans.
そうだ、やっとトイレを見つけて入ったんだ。そしたら首をつっている人がたくさん。それで驚いて廊下に出てへたり込んじゃって。その後は誰かと話したんだ。確か妹さんとはぐれちゃった人に会ったんだ。一緒にお兄ちゃんを探してくれるって。名前はそう、刻みゆうやさん。痛いよ。なんで体が動かないの。なんで。
Oh man. I think I remember what's about. I think I know what's about to happen. I can't believe the chapter starts with this. Oh my god. I then realized why I couldn't see my arms. Where were they? Why weren't they at my sides? They were still numb too, so I couldn't feel where they were either, but I tried my best to move them anyway.
この音、縄だよね。私、縛られてるの。
Thought maybe the reason I couldn't feel my arms or legs and couldn't move was because I was tied up, really tight, and it was cutting off my circulation.
お願い、動いて。
Some effort, I was finally able to move my fingertips. I started feeling everything I could, grateful even for this little bit of reassurance.
なんか触った。
The rope around my wrist had been tied up tight and looped many times over. With the circulation trickling back into my hands, it was really painful. So, where is Kizumi? He's gotta be still in the room, right? I was so scared. Felt like I'd forgotten how to breathe. Footsteps were echoing out from out in the hallway. Stopped right in front of this room. I wriggled in place and screamed as loud as I could. I didn't even care about the old splintery rope cutting into my wrists and ankles anymore. No, not him. Cocky bastard.
大丈夫かいゆかちゃん。
He was looking at me with a caring, sympathetic smile on his face. He seemed really concerned about me.
助けてください。気がついたら縛られてて。
ああ、それは僕が縛ったんだよ。大事な妹ともう二度とはぐれないようにね。
妹って
君は僕の大事な妹だ。だから僕と離れないようにしっかり縛っておかないと。
Ugh. Oh my god.
どうしてキザミさん、嘘でしょ。
どうして？君こそ僕の妹なのになぜわからないんだい？
I'm gonna move the thing up real quick. Right here. There we go. I don't like how this is looking. I really don't like this.
わかりません。だって私は。
ゆかはまだ小さいからわからないのかもしれないね。大丈夫。これからお兄ちゃんが教えてあげるよ。
キザミさん。
僕たち兄弟はこれから分かり合うんだ。
His eyes looked like they were staring far off into the distance, like he was in a trance.
怖い。怖いよ、お兄ちゃん。
Oh my god, and that face, that smile, oh my god. Why was he doing this? Why did he tie me up? And why did he look so happy about it? I didn't get any of it. Every hair on my body was standing on end. I was terrified.
もう逃げられないの。
Corners of my eyes were on fire. I couldn't stop myself from crying. Tears were flowing down my face like a waterfall. Kizumi smiled, then reached out and touched my cheek. His hand was ice cold. It was like there was no blood flowing through it at all. Like the hand of a dead person.
君が目覚めてくれるのをずっと待っていたんだ。さあ、僕に魂の輝きを見せてくれ。君のすべてをかけて、いい声で泣いてくれるよね。
He slowly and hesitantly took his hand off my cheek, then began walking around me, towards my feet. Oh, god damn it, no.
It's show time!
Am I gonna have to get the sensor ready?
そう、それだよ。僕が求めていたのはその声、その顔だ。 恐怖と絶望が頂点に達した時、魂は最高の輝きを放つ。それをもっと見たい。それを僕に向けてくれ。ゆかちゃん、ゆかちゃんならもっと輝けるはずなんだ。大丈夫、お兄ちゃんが手伝ってあげるよ。鮮血にまみれ、痛みにもがき、苦しむ姿は今よりもっと綺麗に違いない。どうしたんだい、ゆか。休んじゃダメだよ。まだまだこれからなんだからね。さあ、お兄ちゃんって呼んでごらん。何を言っているんだい、ゆか。お兄ちゃんはほら、君の目の前にいるじゃないか。
ゆかのお兄ちゃん。
The panic and fear just kept getting more overpowering. I think I was hyperventilating. The Kisame showed no mercy. Instead, he reached out and grabbed my neck.
本当に生きているウサギはうるさいな。
息ができない。
なんて細い首なんだ。しなやかで柔らかい。君の頸動脈の太さと頸椎の形がよくわかるよ。なんて戦場的な作りをしているんだ、君の数字は。苦しいかい？苦しいよね。
I feel thoroughly repulsed right now.
ゆかが悪いんだよ。僕以外のお兄ちゃんはここにはいないはずなのに。
That, he let go of my neck, but then hastily pulled the knife in his hands right up to my face. He made sure I could see every inch of it clearly, just held it there, slowly turning it for what felt like an eternity.
ちゃんと見えてるかな、ゆか。
The knife was stained with red splatter marks. No, not even red, just dark. It wasn't a color I knew well, but there was only one thing it could have been.
ああ、これかい？心配しなくてもいいよ。少し黒崎で汚れているけど、まだよく切れるから。
I was shivering so hard I could feel my teeth vibrating. A chill ran through every part of me, as if I were so afraid that it had actually lowered my body temperature. As if I were so afraid that it would actually lower my body temperature. Chattering coming from inside my mouth was getting louder and louder. such an extent that even I was getting distracted by it.
いい顔だ。僕の妹はいい仕事をする。少し布が邪魔だな。
Real quick. Oops. Kizumi suddenly tore my uniform, exposing my stomach.
なんだこの水風船のようなお腹は。たっぷり内臓が詰まっているじゃないか。
He laid the knife blade flat across my belly button, and the sudden sensation of cold metal against my skin sent even more shivers up and down my spine.
痛かったら声を上げていいからね。恥ずかしいことじゃないんだよ。もう終わりかい？
I hate how it makes us watch it. I hate how the game makes us watch these scenes. Oh my god.
どうしたんだい、ユウカ。まさかこれで終わりじゃないだろう。せっかく欲しかった妹が手に入ったのに。
My throat was completely dry. I actually wanted to cry for help. The walls of my air pipes were sticking together. Breathing was hard enough.
返事を、ユウカ。ユウカ。いい子だ。じゃあ本番に行くよ。
Fear had taken over. I couldn't hold myself back. I knew it wouldn't go over well, and I knew it would hurt, but I forced myself to cry out.
"君のお兄ちゃんは僕だろ?謝りなさい、ユウカ。違うだろう。お兄ちゃんごめんなさいだ。もっと心を込めて。
Oh shit, I think I cut her short, sorry.
僕がお兄ちゃんじゃない。この おもらしするほどに僕が嫌いなのか。
What is happening right now?
興味深いな。そんな格好になってまで兄貴を呼ぶのか。なんて哀れな。僕の可愛い妹だ。今気持ちよくさせてあげるよ。もうそんな哀れな姿で泣かなくていい。哀れ。今俺はこの子を見て哀れと言ったか。なぜ哀れと思った。何なんだこの気分は。かわいそう。俺にもそんな感情が。俺にもまだそんな感情が生まれる未来が残されているというのか。他の奴らとは違う。この俺にも。
ですからあの子がそんなことするはずがありません。残念ですが、本人はゆうやくんは相手の子を傷つけようと思ってハサミを持ったと言うんです。わざとやったとおっしゃるんですか。私たちが駆けつけた時、彼は血だらけになった自分の手を見て笑っていました。
God damn.
とにかくこちらではもう対応しかねます。お引き取りください。待ってください。
なんだ、あいつの目潰れなかったのか。
俺は幼い頃から命に思いやりを持ったり、他人の心を感じたりする方法がわからなかった。次第に親たちはあくまでも見るような目で俺を疎んじるようになり、兄と姉ばかりに愛情を注ぎ始めた。成績優秀で人格者の兄と姉ばかり。さすが周りが揃って認める人格者は違うと思ったよ。親でさえ諦めた俺を兄と姉だけは接し続けていたんだ。特に兄貴はその吐き気がするほどの優等生ぶりを振りかざし、熱心に俺をいい弟にしようとした。あいつは兄の立場を利用して俺に命令し、俺にしつこくつきまとった。そうだ、小学生の頃、俺は一度だけ本気で兄にぶつかったことがあったんだ。
なんてことしてるんだ。ヒューヤ、何を燃やしたんだ。
何って動物だよ。ああ、匂うから怒ってんのか。しょうがないじゃん。今殺したばかりでまだ血が残って。いって。何すんだよ、バカに。
I always had no idea why he struck me, but this was the first time I'd ever been on the receiving end of violence, and I was pissed. Tried to jump him, but he was just too big. I didn't stand a chance.
うして命を大切にしない？どうしてこんなことを？殺すなんて。なぜこんなことするんだ、ユウヤ！
うるせえ、俺が拾ってきたんだ。切り殺そうが何しようが俺の勝手だろ。
Couldn't believe this. The asshole actually threw a punch at me. I was determined to hit him back, but I wasn't going to give up until I succeeded. Fortunately, his size really was an God damn it, hang on. Oh, come on. There we go. Insurmountable obstacle for me. My attempt to fight back was cut short by another, much harder blow to the same cheek. That was twice now. I was going to make him pay. I swore I'd injure him. My punch was going to connect. If I couldn't hit him in the head, any other part of his body would do just as well. Man, he was... Oh my god.
先に生まれただけで偉そうにしやがって。俺がもっとでかければ。
そういう問題じゃないだろう。成長しろ、ユウヤ。本当に頭の悪い男でなければいずれ理解できるはずだ。今ある体格差や年の差はすぐに何の意味もなくなる。大事なのは心の成長なんだ。他人の痛みが分かる人間になってくれ。
Could have sworn I saw tears welling up in his eyes. The hell was that about? He just bit me up here now, and he was looking sad.
俺は兄貴とは違う。
違わない。お前は俺の弟だ。
Not once is he like seeing that he was doing anything wrong. He just sees the wrong that's been done to him. Ah, god damn it. And takes it personally.
ずっとお前は俺の弟だ。それは一生変わらない。
I can still remember that what a disgustingly sentiment of Loki he was giving me when he said that.
死ねよ、死ね死ね死ね。兄貴なんか殺してやる。何すんだよ。
ゆうや、やめなさい。
離せ、離せよ。待てよ、バカに。
いいか。大事なのは心の成長だ。胸に刻み込んでおけ。
偽善者が。って思いっきりぶん殴りやがって。
ゆうや、大丈夫？頭打たなかった？
ほっとけよ。
今はまだわからなくても、きっとあんたが大人になれば理解できるから。
俺のことを理解できないのは姉貴たちの方だろ。
I should have gotten this kid into therapy. Holy shit.
なんで俺が一番下なんだよ。下の兄弟が欲しい。俺ならもっと理解して絶対に可愛がってやるのに。
兄さんも私もあんたが大好きよ。
はあ？
Hi Red, welcome to the stream. How are you?
私たちは分かってるから。あんたが本当は優しい子だってこと。この子のお墓作ってあげよう。ね、ゆうや。
そんなんゴミ箱に捨てりゃいいだろ。
Oh yeah, I used to watch that show all the time when I was a kid.
ゆうや。 あんた、このままじゃ一生一人ぼっちになっちゃうよ。
My sister grabbed me by both of my shoulders and looked me right in the eyes when she said this. I didn't care about a word she was saying. I just pushed her away.
俺のことが好きだから、俺のことを分かったふりをするな、この嘘つき女。
ゆうや、嘘って。
俺は誰も信じない。誰にも負けない。俺に嘘をつくやつは許さない。絶対だ。
Yeah, it was.
そうだった。この頃からだ。人間の本当の気持ちを。そう。正直な反応を見るにはどうすべきか考えるようになったのは、周りの連中を理解できない俺のことを理解してくれる者などいない。処世術を得た俺は目立たず毎日を過ごすため、常にそういう自分を演じるようになっていた。つまらない話に興味を持ったかのように笑い、同情したふりを装い、傷ついた顔を作ってやった。
Oh yeah, the boss is great.
偽りの仮面に気づかず、笑顔で言い寄ってくるクラスメイトたち。奴らは全部嘘っぱちだ。本質も見えていないくせに、上辺だけで人を分かったようなふりをする。俺の簡単な演技に騙される。頭の軽くて愚かな蔑視すべき存在。
Jeez.
兄貴たちと同じだ。俺に嘘をつく許されざる存在。だから試したいと思っていたんだ。他人を本当に理解することができる方法、俺を理解させる方法。気づかなかったろ。俺はずっとお前らを殺したいと思ってたって。死に際に立つ人間は正直だ。動物どもと同じ。みんな正面からこちらに向き合って本物の会話をしてくれた。一部を除いては。
What the hell is he going on about? What the...
いい返事だ。それでいいんだ。もっと見せてみろよ、お前の裸の感情を。
お前のためなんかに。
悲鳴も命乞いも噛み殺して絶命したやつがいたんだった。なんだそりゃ、抵抗のつもりか？この時のなんと満たされなかったことか。もっと理解し合おうぜ。この空間に来て俺でも少しは変われるのかとの期待も少しはあった。だが人を殺めた後ですら俺に人間らしい感情は湧かなかった。
ゆうや、命は平等なんだ。 ちゃんと覚えておけよ。
命は平等。ああ、確かに平等だったさ。
God damn it, hang on a sec. My monitor keeps turning itself off.
殺す時は同じだったよ。人間も動物も虫けらも。でもまあ、殺す感触は同じでも、さすがに人を殺めてしまった罪はもう引き返せないか。後悔はなかった。が、もう自分には欲しい未来すら浮かばなかった。なんだ今のは。今俺は誰かを哀れんで。
お腹パンパン。
そう、この感覚だ。この俺が相手を哀れんでいる。そんなに震えて大丈夫かい？
おトイレに。
なんでここまで我慢を？
さっきお兄ちゃんとはぐれちゃって。
そのはぐれたお兄ちゃんに言わなかったのかい？おトイレに行きたいって。
だってずっとおトイレはどこも使えなくて。あとおトイレ以外のところでしたって。お兄ちゃんに思われたくなかったから。
献身的な妹。そうだ、これだ。自分より弱い存在守ってあげなきゃ。これだよ、これだ。俺が欲しかったのは。
Ugh, oh my god, that is... He's... I said before that this place makes people snap. This guy has cracks, like, way before he got here.
どうかしたんですか、キザミさん。
この俺が哀れと感じたこのことならまだ未来はあるんじゃないか。そうだ、哀れむ感情があるならまだ罪を許される要素があるはずだ。この子と暮らせれば。
Oh, this is absolutely creepy.
そうするか。俺と暮らすか。
私やっぱり一人でお兄ちゃん探します。
一人で？どうして？ようやく見つけたのに。どうしてこいつも俺から離れていくんだ。
Cause you showed how creepy you can be, you fucking asshole. What the fuck?
Run! Rabbit run! ダメだ。一緒に行こう。ほら、兄さんの言うことを聞かないからだよ。
Ugh. Ugh. Oh my god. I'd been screaming and crying so much that my throat was now bone dry. Couldn't manage any more than a whimper. My throat was actually in a lot of pain. It burned like someone had cut it wide open. Was she screaming the whole time he was in flashback mode? What the? Kizumi had raised a knife as if he were about to kill me. For some reason, he just froze like that. And all I could do was lie there, struggling to breathe. Aside from his heavy panting, I could hear only the sound of my own chattering teeth. Breathed in as deeply as I could, then mustered every last bit of strength I had. I wanted to call out with all my might. I wanted to call for help. Oh, good. The sentiment was there, but the words couldn't possibly have been heard by anyone else. It's like the person I didn't want to hear them. My strained scream seemed to have snapped Kizumi out of his trance. Brought the tip of his knife down to my cheek, but it didn't break skin.
どんなに助けを呼んでも誰も来ないんだ。
He was looking down at me with blank, empty eyes. It was like he'd just woken up from a really long dream. I was absolutely certain about that. He may not have found me yet, but I knew he was looking. He was worried, looking all over for me. It was only a matter of time. Big Brother is my prince after all, and princes always come to rescue his princesses. His princess.
来るわけないだろう。君のお兄ちゃんはここにいるんだから。うるさい。
I struggled to get out the words, come to an abrupt end as Kizumi's hand pressed down hard on my face, covering my nose and mouth and suffocating me. For all the pain and fear I was feeling, I knew I had a chance to fight back, so I opened my mouth and I bit down hard on his palm. I must have bitten even harder than I thought. I could taste his blood. It was warm and minerally, and it slid down my parched throat, easing a little bit of the pain and dryness. Just kept shouting. I didn't care if these were the last words I ever said. I had no regrets. I just wanted to cry out.
気なんか来ねえ。
It all happened in an instant. Kizumi just grabbed his head in both hands and let out a cry of pain that didn't even sound human.
なんだこれは。何なんだよこの声は。俺は妹が欲しかったのか。俺は妹が欲しかった。欲しかったんだ。俺より弱い存在。そうだ。俺を必要とする存在。妹という存在を本当に欲していたのか。そうだ。妹がいれば俺は変われた。痛い。頭が。
He grabbed his head again and began stumbling around. He looked like he was in real pain. There were even tears in his eyes.
くそくそくそ。何を気づかせたい。今さら俺に理由などいらない。
I don't think anybody's winning in this case. Hi, Cyber Shrooms. Welcome to the stream.
ここに来てからの俺は俺だけのために全てを踏みつけてきた。それは誇りですらある。
大丈夫ですか？頭痛いの。床のポケットに頭痛のお薬が入ってます。
Unfortunate? Yeah.
出して飲んでいいです。
なんでこうなったんだ。妹がいれば俺も兄貴みたいになれたんだ。
What is happening right now?
なれたはずだった。弟のために泣くようなバカ兄みたいに。
He fell to his knees and just stayed like that, not moving, maybe not even breathing. Never played Corpse Party, but I've heard it praised over the years. Oh yeah, it is yeah. One of the great horror games. One of the great horror games. I have no idea what's happening right now though. After another unnerving yell, the huge man with the hammer just stood there, staring at me. He had blood splattered all over him. Somehow, though, I got the impression he wasn't going to attack me.
助けてくれたの？
He reached one hand towards me, slowly, gently. Though it may have been a little too slowly, he moved like a zombie, as if I were watching a TV show in slow motion. Wait a minute, why do his eyebrows look weird though? Corpsing out. It almost seemed like he was afraid of me. But I was just a little girl tied to a table. What could possibly make him think I'd... What could he possibly think I'd do to him? Eyebrows do look drawn on last minute. That's one... Yeah. He didn't answer. I wasn't even sure if he heard the question. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking past me. Its mournful yell echoed throughout the room. My arms and legs suddenly went slack. I felt like I could move them now. Slowly, I opened my eyes and confirmed that this enormous man had just smashed apart the dry knots that were holding my hands and feet in place. I knew I didn't have much time. I tried my hardest to wake up my sleeping hands and feet and shake the broken, splintered ropes from my wrists and ankles. Who drew on your eyebrows? Oh my god, that is actually kind of distracting. Oh! Let's save. Run for the door! After brushing the last piece of rope off my body, I leaped to the ground and began searching the room for the best escape route. The huge man may have freed me from my ropes, but I was clearly still in danger. There were still big, indented rope burns on my wrists and ankles, limiting my blood circulation. I wouldn't be moving comfortably for a while yet. 100% the dude forgot to drop me initially. Makeup foul. The back door of the classroom was wide open. It seemed broken, actually. It looked like the huge man must have busted in with his hammer when he came attacking. I decided to make a break for it. First, I tried sidestepping past him, doing everything I could to tread lightly and keep my arms out stretched so the blood would flow to them again. But then, I heard the floor creak behind me. I was too late. There was nowhere left to run. The giant hammer struck my right arm, instantly fracturing it severely. A spray of blood from the impact even got in my eyes. Oh my god, I got the first death. The huge man raised his hammer in the air again. He swung it with perfect precision, and I was down. But he wasn't stopping. Both my arms and legs have been completely destroyed. They look like giant swatted bugs on the desk. Just a mess of bloody chunks. The last swing hit so hard that it broke the whole desk behind me. I found myself rolling painfully onto the ground. When I hit, there was less thud and more pop. Bits of my arms and legs were flying everywhere. And then I realized it wasn't just bits. What was left of my extremities was so damaged that it was all literally just snapped off my body. No, this had to be a nightmare. It couldn't be real, could it? I really was like a swatted bug. I looked and felt the part completely. I didn't want to give up, even though I knew I was doomed. I tried to roll myself towards the door. That went about as well as you might expect. My head was stuck on something, and waves of pain were shooting through my entire torso. I wasn't going to last much longer. I could see the hammer coming down onto my head. Ah, shit, hang on a sec. My monitor keeps shutting off for some reason. There we go. And then, for a split second, I could see in two opposite directions at once as my skull cracked down in the middle like a watermelon. Okay. Immersion ruined? I know. Alright. I was getting so into it too. God damn it. Hang on, it did it again. It hasn't done these shenanigans in a while, so I'm wondering what's going on, why it's doing it now all of a sudden. Alright, consider other options. My arms and legs were still so numb that I couldn't trust myself to get out of the room safely. I had to think of something else. I had to buy some time. It seemed like the little girl was pulling the huge man's strings, and he really didn't want to hurt me. So maybe I could reason with him?
何をしている？殺せ。どうしたの？
He suddenly doubled over and began clawing at his throat, seemingly in a great deal of pain. Reasoning with him really wasn't going to work. He was too unstable. And if it came down to me or the little girl, I was pretty sure I wouldn't win. Okay, like the Bunsen burner? Light it!
何の音もしない。ガスが通ってないのかな。ダメだ。他の方法を探さなきゃ。あそこから出られそうだけど。ダメだ。男の人がいるから通れない。何かで気をそらせられればいいんだけど。
Okay, so one of these One of these Bunsen burners gotta be the answer.
意識が
I couldn't move any part of my body. I just fallen completely limp and my vision had gone black. I felt like I was being swallowed up by darkness, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. It was seeping into every part of me. Big brother, help. Hmm. See. It's a decayed skeletal corpse. There's nothing about its outward appearance that gives any clear indication of age or gender. However, there's a student ID name tag partially lodged in its ribcage. Indicates it probably belonged to a junior high school girl. Second name, Municipal Middle School, I Honda. Okay, well I got that. Oh, what's this? There's a bottle on the ground filled with transparent liquid. Take it. Hydrochloric acid. Oh, okay.
いつまでそうしているつもりだ。殺せ。
Yeah, there's a bunch of skeletons all around the school of the previous people who came here. Instinctively, I threw the glass bottle at the huge man with the hammer. He flinched and stumbled backwards. His hammer was still raised. However, it smashed into one of the light bulbs on the ceiling, shattering it. The feeling had begun returning to my legs, so I wasted no time. Habitually yelling "excuse me" as I left, I darted through the dark lab, using what I remembered of its layout to avoid obstacles and reach the door. Alright, we saved the baby. Whew.
お前、わざとか？このクズ！二度とご褒美してやらないぞ。早く追いかけろ。あの小娘何度目だ？お守りの 切れ端を持っているのか。運命が定着していない。
どこか隠れられるところを探さなきゃ。
I could hear the sounds of someone else running, just a short distance in front of me. I couldn't make out who it was with any certainty, but I did briefly catch a glimpse of a figure retreating into the darkness, and it looked like
兄ちゃん。今のお兄ちゃんだったよね。
I took off in pursuit. That was Big Brother. Then I just had to catch up to him.
お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
He mustn't have heard me. His pace never slowed, and I saw him disappear around a corner.
行っちゃった。早く追いかけなきゃ。お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
Okay. So now that we're out of that, I wanna go ahead and go get some more coffee. I'll be right back. I got some toast while I was out there. Yum. Alright. Just gotta keep going forward, right? And make sure I scan everything. Whoops. This way? No, we were just in the lab, right? So... said turn your corner, so this way? Might be going the wrong way.
なんか寒くなってきたな。
Whoop! I clicked out of the game.
やっぱり開かないみたい。もっと力が強ければ開くのかな。お兄ちゃん、どこ行っちゃったの？
Uh-oh. Okay, we're on a time limit. Real horrors of black mochi's breathing in. Yeah. Whoops. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. I have no idea if I'm going the right way, though. Oh, is Corpse Party originally a top-down game? Oh, this is the sequel to it. But yeah, you are right. It was kind of a top-down game. Gotta be heading the right way if I got that dialogue box. The suspense is killing me. Suddenly, my field of vision started going topsy-turvy. Was I falling? It was an earthquake. There was more than there was more than just that. The floor beneath me was moving up and down in time with the quake's left and right motion. I tried putting one hand on the floor for balance and getting back to my feet. I thought I'd done it. I was standing now and had started getting used to the vibrations as long as I hugged the walls. I could walk. That all quite literally came crashing down around me as soon enough. The wildly shaking floor cracked and then crumbled, and I was free falling. You're in Oogie Boogie's mansion. No! I raised my head and found myself lying on top of a pile of rubble. I wasn't too much worse for wear, though, all things considered. I looked all around me, frantically, but I saw nothing even remotely familiar. This was definitely someplace new. And it didn't feel much like a school anymore. The walls and floor were made of packed dirt, with only road ties keeping it all together. She has to climb all the way back up just to hit the last shadow. Kingdom Hearts reference. That's funny. I knew I was underground. I had to be. Just felt like that way. There were no windows. There were no windows anywhere, and based on the smell, no ventilation either. Big brother might have gotten caught off guard by that earthquake too, I thought. He could be down here. It was a big one after all. Maybe he was injured. Maybe he couldn't move. I tried pushing myself up from the pile of rubble, ready to shoot to my feet and continue the search. That didn't last long, however. My hands and feet were still a little numb from the ropes, making it hard to keep my balance. I fell back onto my butt. Oh god, I don't want to read this. Major copium. Yeah. So wrapped up in running for my life and chasing after Big Brother, I didn't even notice the wetness. Now I couldn't get it out of my mind. Tears were welling up in my eyes. How could I be so pathetic? I forced myself to my feet, doing my best to try ignoring this squishy sensation. Wouldn't be able to ignore it for long, though. Goddamn. Really tore her pain. Instead of underwear, it's socks. What socks are like. What socks inside your shoes? Oh man. Couldn't go on like this. Going to get a rash or catch pneumonia or something. Every step was going to be its own form of, yeah, gross. Swallowed my pride and held back my tears as best as I could, and waddled onward.
どこか脱げる場所ないかな。
So this is an old. Wet socks can be. Wet socks are miserable because, like, even when you take them off, the shoe is gonna be damp for at least 2 days or so over. Gonna be squishy too. I'm wondering if this is like. Since this is an old school, I'm wondering if it's like a bomb shelter.
扉が開かないや。鍵がかかってるのかな。おにゃい。他の場所を探してみよう。
Makes sense. I can't believe I never really considered that. Oh, it says bomb. Literally says bomb shelter right there. I'm so dumb. It says skeletal remains. Given its tiny stature, it very likely belonged to an elementary school student in life. There's a student ID name tag halfway lodged inside the poor girl's ribcage. Great Harbor Elementary School, Chihiro Tamamura. It takes place in like early 2000s. The school that they're all trapped in. When did it close down? I can't remember when exactly the school that they're trapped in now closed down. It was like a really old school. Probably when it was built, bomb shelters like these were like standard back in those days, or like the standard. Door sealed firmly shut. No way to open it. Nah, I don't think phones work in this place.
ここトイレかな。お札も貼ってないし。変な匂いもしないよね。
The only bathrooms I'd seen up to this point were unusable. Charms on the door mysteriously sealing the room shut, bodies hanging in the stalls. But this looks to be a completely normal bathroom. Certainly the most normal I've seen since getting stuck in this place anyway. It's a loose piece of wood on the ground here. Let's take it.
何かの役に立つかも。
Alright.
中に入れるのかな。
go kill a vampire. I tried pulling one of the stall doors.
誰かいますか?
When the bathroom is in the cleanest part of the dungeon. I listened carefully for any hint of a response, even going so far as to hold my breath.
でも返事をされても怖いよね。
But there wasn't a single sound to be heard. The entire room was dead silent. The walls were made from packed dirt, after all, and there was a lot of moisture in the air. Effectively, this whole place was naturally soundproofed.
よし、誰もいないみたい。
Backed away from the stall slightly and almost tripped over a fairly sized crack in the ground, about 5 centimeters wide and 1 centimeter thick.
ここに隠してもいいかな。 全部入らないや。布がはみ出ちゃう。もっと大きく広げられればいいんだけど。どうしよう。そうだ。この木で隙間を大きくすれば。ゆかのこんな姿、お兄ちゃんに見られなくてよかった。どうか誰にも見つかりませんように。特にお兄ちゃんには。
Not that a big brother would likely wander into the girl's bathroom, but it's possible given the circumstances. So, just be safe. I figured it couldn't hurt to pray that didn't happen.
でも、もうちょっと奥に詰めておこうかな。誰かに見つかったら恥ずかしいもんね。
I do remember she actually did do this like in the last game.
よし。 スースーしてやだな。でも濡れたまま履いてたらもっと気持ち悪いし。さっきから地震ばかり。ここ大丈夫かな。さっきよりも古い建物だけど壊れちゃわないかな。
Picked my head out from the bathroom and looked around.
誰もいないよね。お兄ちゃん、お兄ちゃん。
Demonetized? Yeah, it might be, yeah. My voice echoed a lot louder than I was expecting. Actually surprised me, considering the wet dirt walls. I didn't think sound waves would travel that far. I'm trying not to bring much attention to it. It's the game doing it.
怖いよ。他にお兄ちゃんの友達とか誰かいれば。臭い。手洗いたいな。
Began walking through the hall once again, a bit slower and more unevenly due to exhaustion. Just messing with me. I don't even think the with the way the Corpse Party streams are, the Corpse Party's games are, I don't think that these streams will ever get demonetized or will ever get monetized anyway. Because of the graphic nature to them. The death room. Okay, I should say before I explore that. Set of skeletal remains. Doesn't seem to be any way to determine gender from clothing or build alone. But there is a student ID name tag nearby, bearing a traditionally feminine name. Komashiro Trade School, Sakura Motoi. There's a cabinet here that looks big enough to fit a whole person inside. Might make a good hiding spot. Door to the room suddenly slammed shut. The inside of it was just missing its doorknob, rendering it unopenable. It seemed I'd been locked in. Ah, crap. There are thoroughly decomposed remains on the table here. Based on the general appearance and what's left of the deceased clothing, appeared to belong to a very young girl. Her name tag is still affixed to her chest. Great Harbor Elementary School, Mako Sakurai. It's a fairly large stone sitting on the heavy wooden table. Take it? Let's take it. Jam the stick in place? Oh no! I shouldn't have taken the stone. I quietly and gently returned the stone to its original spot. Ah, crap. Hang on. The key inside the cabinet, take it? Oh shit, why didn't I just do that before? I quietly returned this key to its spot inside the cabinet. Why? Okay, so this is the same as last time. Damn. Shovel key, shovel key. I wonder if I even need to go in there in the first place. The nail puller shoved into the sink's drain. Pull it out. Alright. Let's put as much difference between us and that room as possible. What a polite girl, always returning things. A little bit to her detriment. A little bit. But things worked out. It's a decayed skeletal corpse, clothing and diminutive stature that suggests this was likely an elementary school boy. His name tag is still pinned to his breast pocket. Great Harbor Elementary School, Hiroshi Takano. Another one. It's a decaying corpse. Based on the outward appearance and uniform, this is likely a junior or high school girl. Student ID name tag seems to have survived intact. Sakane Municipal Middle School, Koi Kawahara. Okay, nothing else here. This place is such a mess. These Fazbears put the bodies in suits to lighten the mood. Yeah, they're not subtle about what they're doing here. Oh shit. It's a newly deceased corpse, practically still warm. It's easy to tell at a glance that this was a female or junior high school student. There's a student ID name tag on the ground at her feet. Shobu University Middle School, Michi Moritoshi. That's a girl? Huh. Let's see what's at the end of this hole real quick before we go into that. It's a set of skeletal remains. There doesn't seem to be any way to determine gender or age. There's a student ID name tag lodged in its eye socket, identifying these remains as likely having belonged to a male junior or high student. Male junior high student. Takane Municipal Middle School, Kyogo, Shibuya. Noticing more female students than male. Well, it depends on like if there's multiple killers in the school, so it's not just one. I think it was like mostly girls that were trying the Sachiko Ever After charm and then ending up here. The door to this particular room was shuddering ever so slightly, as if there was a breeze blowing against it gently from inside. Slowly and hesitantly, put both hands on the doorknob and started to turn.
入れるみたい。よし、入ってみよう。出口につながってるといいな。ひどい匂い。
As soon as the door opened, even a crack, a powerful, horrible stench slammed into my face and twisted around my nasal cavities like a jet of water.
これ、何かが腐った匂いだ。
I was instantly feeling nauseous and lightheaded, as if I were suddenly deprived of oxygen.
もうダメ。早く出よう。水の音。水があるのかな。
Holding my nose, I stepped back into the room and crept over towards the source of the noise. If there were water here, maybe I could wash my hands, I thought.
どこ?
My extreme thirst came back in full force as well. Clean water was the greatest thing I could have possibly found at this point. I accidentally kicked over a bucket, spilling its contents on the ground in front of me. Countless flies immediately flew out from the overturned bucket and began swarming all around me. Their buzzing wings sounded right up against my ears, as if they were attacking me. I let go of my nose and began flailing my arms, wildly attempting in vain to drive them away. As I haphazardly stumbled forward, I found my foot splashing in shallow liquid. Mere moments later, my hand came in contact with a wall and brushed against a switch. I heard a faint clicking sound, and then the lights flickered on, and I got a clear look at the room I was standing in. A large portion of the floor had been dug out into something resembling a pool, which was filled with stained, discolored water and dismembered bodies. The bodies were decomposing a lot faster than they naturally would on account of the wetness. Most of them had swarms of maggots instead of faces. Several bodies had actually washed up on the ground outside the pool as well. Those few that still had limbs looked like they may lose them at any moment. Their torsos were swollen and black. Everything else was bone white. The closest body was squirting sappy mucus from its nose and mouth and staring at me with an ugly, mean expression. The thick fluid coming out of it was a reddish brown in color. It seemed to be a disgusting mixture of blood and dead bugs.
何の音？
Some sort of huge door high along the top of the wall opened up. I could clearly feel a breeze blowing it through the room. It was a trash chute.
ここを登っていけば元の場所に戻れるかな。今度は何の音？何か聞こえる。近づいてくる。
I was afraid of what might be coming through that hole, so I put my different distance between it and myself. Something heavy fell from above and splashed into the pool, spraying my face with rotten, stagnant water. Oh, thank you for subscribing. What? Ah! The body that had just fallen into the pool of water was wearing a school uniform. As soon as it touched the liquid, it began bubbling and melting into it, as if it were a bag of ingredients tossed into a stew pot. Hi Tina, welcome to the stream. Thank you for subscribing. Subscriber jump scare. Yeah. When the poor victim's lungs floated to the surface, giving the whole scene even more of a sick, soup-like appearance. Hope you're well. I'm as well as I can be, I think. Playing this game. All things considered. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I dragged my wet foot onto the dry part of the ground for a second or two. I made a dash for the door. As soon as I was back in the hall, I fell to my knees in shock. I couldn't even move. The smell of dust and decay was still sticking to me, and still trying to snake its way to my nose. It was all I could do not to throw up on the spot. Okay, thank you for hanging out, Cyberstreams. Have a good night. Just woke up. Hadn't eaten anything in hours, so I'm not even sure what I would have actually thrown up. I still felt like I had to, more strongly than ever before. Maybe it would have been best if just to let it come out. I'm sure I would have felt better afterward. But honestly, I didn't want to see my own vomit right now. Not after all the disgusting things I've seen. I'd had enough. Yeah, I took a short nap like a while ago and just woke up. I'm wide awake now.
どうしてこんなことになっちゃったの？
Oh, poor Yuka. At times like this, especially, I really longed for my big brother. If only he were here with me. I cried out for him, as if in prayer.
お兄ちゃん、助けて。助けて。
Oh, it is. This is the sequel to the original Corpse Party. And it can get to you. Really gets to me.
誰かいるの？
I don't trust that.
誰かいるの？
No, don't trust her, Yuka.
苦しいよ。
There was a little girl here, with an arm outstretched, begging for help. I rushed over to her side.
どうしたの？大丈夫？
She was faintly glowing.
この子、幽霊？あのね、お腹が苦しいの。お胸が熱いよ。とっても辛そう。床にできることは。ここ、怪我はしてないみたいだけど、痛むの？痛いよ。
All I could do for her was offer physical comfort. If I rubbed her back, maybe she'd feel better.
ありがとう。ごめんね。こんなことしかできなくて。ちょっと楽になったの。そう？よかった。
The girl grimaced again, as if she were experiencing some new pain all of a sudden.
まだ無理しない方がいいよ。ね？うん。あなたもここに迷い込んだの？わかんない。気がついたらここで倒れてたの。気がついたら。ずっと寂しかった。そっか。一人で寂しかったね。よく頑張ったね。
I'm bracing myself. I feel it coming. I feel something coming. I'm bracing myself for it. I gently brushed my hand against the little girl's face, wiping away her tears. I only just met her, but I already felt for her. I already really felt for her. She had it a lot worse than I did.
あなた、お名前は？幸子。幸子。幸子ちゃんっていうのね。うん。私はゆかだよ。持田ゆか。ゆか？ゆかお姉ちゃん？お姉ちゃん？お姉ちゃんか。
Oh,
なんかお姉ちゃんって呼ばれると照れちゃうなって。
took Sachiko's tiny hand in my own and pulled her to her feet.
よし、立てるね。
Sachiko's hand was so thin and light compared to my own. Not just light, it almost felt like it was completely weightless.
やっぱり幽霊なんだ。
Sachiko noticed me staring at her, and I must have had made quite a look on my face. It seemed to bother her, so I did my best to force a smile. I'm sure she was worried I'd leave her all by herself again, and I wanted to make sure she knew I was here for her.
どうしたのお姉ちゃん？ちょっと考え事してて。ごめんなさい。
Sachiko lowered her head and looked like she was about to cry.
どうして謝るの？幸子、 だから。お姉ちゃんと違うから怖がらせちゃってごめんなさい。よかったらこんな小さい子を不安にさせるなんて。
I took Sachiko's hand in both of mine, turning to face her and ducking down a little so our eyes were level.
大丈夫だよ。幽霊は怖いけど、なんだかあなたは怖くない気がするの。怖くない？本当に？うん、幸子ちゃんは大丈夫。お姉ちゃん行っちゃうの？
I did have to think for a moment since I knew I couldn't take a ghost with me very far. But in the end, I knew I couldn't just leave her.
幸子ちゃんも一緒にゆかのお兄ちゃんを探してくれる？お兄ちゃん？うん、すっごく頼りになるの。きっと幸子ちゃんにも優しくしてくれるよ。
Her head was still down, but her eyes were peeking up at me. She looked nervous but for the first time since we started talking, she also looked hopeful.
幸子も一緒に行っていいの？うん、もう一人じゃないよ。ゆかが、お姉ちゃんがそばにいるからね。
I don't trust it. I don't trust that smile. Honestly, I was lonely too. I probably wanted her with me just as badly as she wanted someone with her, ghost or no.
さあ行こう、幸子ちゃん。
I turned to head back down the hall, but was stopped by Sachiko tugging on my uniform. She was wearing a forced smile on her face, but still looked uneasy.
お姉ちゃん、私の言うこと聞く？言うこと？言うことって？
What was she going to tell me to do? I was so surprised by the question I wasn't sure how best to respond. The longer I thought about it, the more uneasy she looked, so...
お姉ちゃんね、あなたのお話なら聞くよ。本当？うん、だから何でも話してね。うん。
It was clearly something specific she had in mind, but I wasn't going to push her about it. She could ask me when she was ready. She seemed satisfied with my answer and let go of my uniform. So hand in hand, we continued down the hall in search for my big brother. Ow! Ow! Oh, we're at 52%. I don't like that either. So, where can we go? Guess towards the storehouse? Maybe she has a way to get in? Dang. Yeah, ghosts in this place come in two flavors. There's the good ghosts that are light blue, and then there's the evil ones who are bright red.
時お兄ちゃんならどうするかな。
お兄ちゃんに会いたい？
とっても。
鍵開くといいね。
Oh, is that it?
鍵開くといいね。
Wait! Back in the death room. That was like a thing.
O兄ちゃん、やっぱりここにはいないのかな。
そうだね。
幸子ちゃん、ゆかの他には誰も見なかった？
うん。
That's all she said. And then silently, she squatted onto the ground and wrapped her hands around her knees.
どうしたの？どこか痛いの？
お姉ちゃん、寒いよ。
寒い？
She nodded firmly, almost exaggeratedly.
そっか。幽霊でも痛みを感じるなら、きっと寒さも感じるよね。かわいそう。
As if to show me how cold she was, she then started visibly shivering.
ねえ、幸子ちゃん、何かゆかにできることない？
何か？
そう、幸子ちゃんがこれ以上辛くならないように何でも言って。
じゃあ、お姉ちゃんのそれちょうだい。
She was pointing at my feet.
靴下？
This was the first time I noticed that Sachiko was walking around barefoot. I was so busy worrying about myself and about finding my big brother that I completely failed to pay attention to poor Sachiko's appearance.
ごめんね、すぐ気がつかなくて。
いいの。
Sachiko shook her head.
私お姉ちゃんなのにもっと早く気づいてあげられればよかった。
For our big brother, I would have noticed right away and given her my shoes. But it wasn't too late. I took off my shoes and socks and offered them to Sachiko. They were a little wet, but still better than walking out on these cold dirt floors in bare feet. I didn't really like the idea of doing that myself, but just one look at this poor girl, lost soul's shaking form convinced me that I was doing the right thing.
ありがとうお姉ちゃん。
Sachiko took just the socks, leaving the shoes in my hand.
幸子ちゃん、靴下だけでいいの？上履きは？
うん。だってお姉ちゃんが裸足になっちゃうでしょ。
She flashed a gentle smile at me, which stayed on her face the whole time. The whole time she slowly put on both my socks.
ゆかお姉ちゃんに怪我してほしくないから。
そっか、優しいんだね、幸子ちゃんは。
Patted her head just like Big Brother always did to me.
お姉ちゃん大好き。
Her smile had grown, now stretched from cheek to cheek. I began to feel like I'd do anything at all to keep her happy. I wonder if this was how Big Brother felt when I smiled at him like that.
頑張ろうね、幸子ちゃん。
Despite the severity of the situation, I was in high spirits. I almost forgot just how horrible this place really was.
頑張る？
お兄ちゃんを見つけられるように。幸子ちゃん、今何か言った？
I thought that was a giggle, but it sounded different somehow. Like her voice had changed to someone else's, or someone else was here.
ううん。
かわいい。むちゃくちゃしたい。 何も言ってないよ。
そっか、気のせいかな。
The red flags are raised! What is it they usually say in movies? Must have been the wind? Not too likely in this stagnant underground bunker like this, but still.
きっと怖がりすぎなのかも。もっとしっかりしなくちゃ。お姉ちゃんなんだから。
Put on the bravest face I could manage and marched back onto the wall, pausing only to make sure Sachiko was still behind me. Okay, so that was... Where do I go from here then? If it comes down to it, I might have to look up a guide.
Nani? どうしたの？
足が痛いの。
足？
Soles of Sachiko's feet seemed to be bothering her quite a bit. As we stood there, I noticed she was fidgeting in place, trying not to stand on them.
そうだよね。幸子ちゃん、靴下だけだもんね。
She said nothing else. She just stared at my feet. She seemed to want my shoes now, but didn't want to say anything since I offered them earlier and she turned them down. So I just smiled and decided I'd offer them again.
私の上履き履く？
いいの？
幸子ちゃん、また怪我しちゃうもんね。
お姉ちゃんは？
ゆかはお姉ちゃんだから大丈夫だよ。
I wouldn't accept any objections. I just took off my shoes and handed them to Sachiko without another word. Carefully, she slipped them on over my socks. They were a little big on her, but I knew she'd feel better than just having them.
ありがとう。嬉しい。じゃあ、行こっか。
Sachiko wasn't used to such big, floppy shoes. Took one step and stumbled
大
forward.
丈夫？手つないでてあげるよ。
ゆかお姉ちゃん大好き。
幸子ちゃん、ここは何もなかったから引き返そう。
そう。
このまま進んでていいのかな。
こっちがいい。
Sachiko was pointing down the hall, towards the part where the earthquake had
こ
dropped
っ
me.
ち？こっちに何かあるの？
わかんない。けどこっち。
何の音だろう。
あそこに入りたい。
あそこ？でもあそこは鍵が。
今開いた音がしたの。
何かあるの？
お願い。入りたいの。
そっか。じゃあそっちに行こうか。
Sachiko nodded firmly and practically dragged me by the hand over to the door near my entry point into this underground maze. She's about to murder us, isn't she?
なんかここ広いね。
あっち。
Energetic as can be, Sachiko pulled me farther into the darkened room.
待って幸子ちゃん。
I suddenly felt a sharp pain in the sole of my foot. I looked down to see what I stepped in. The floor here was actually kind of a mess. It's bumpy and uneven, and there were all kinds of tiny, sharp-looking objects scattered everywhere. Not just old rusting nails, but bits of glass, loose wooden boards, with jagged edges and splinters all over them. And plenty else I couldn't even identify.
血が出ちゃった。
かわいい。
I knew it.
幸子ちゃん。
どうしたのお姉ちゃん。
あれ、そっちにいたの？何だったんだろう、今の声。
There was a set of bleach white bones in a heap against the wall.
小さい。まだ子供だったのかな。そうだ、幸子ちゃんは今いくつなのかな。いくつ
Gonna lurk? Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for hanging out. And thank you for lurking. Let's see.
そう、何歳かな。小学生だよね。
わかんない。思い出せないの。
そっか。
ごめんなさい。
Sachiko just stood there with her head hung low and a look of disdain on her face. She didn't say another word. Seems safe to assume she probably didn't have any memories from when she was alive at all.
ごめんね。気にしないでね。
うん。ごめんなさい。
Looking a bit closer at the pile of bones, there's a student ID name tag jutting out from the victim's ribcage, identifying her as a female. Renaissance Elementary School, Yukari Sekiya. There's a desk in the corner of the room. Something seems to have fallen underneath it.
これ何？
これ、ポラロイドカメラ？
Sachiko bent down and lifted the camera gingerly, as if it were some kind of rare treasure. Then pointed it at me and pressed the shutter button. Oh, it works!
びっくりした。まだ使えるんだね。
持って行ってもいい？
いいけど、重いよ。
大丈夫。嬉しいな。
There's a stack of folded up Japanese style
お
futons.
姉ちゃん。幸子疲れちゃった。
この布団使えたら、一休みしようか。
うん。
Carefully tiptoeing across the litter-strewn floor, nursing my sore and bloody foot the whole while. I snaked my way over to the futons. I didn't much like the idea of sleeping in the same room as the dead child, but I had to admit, I was pretty exhausted too.
ちょっと湿っててカビ臭いけど、敷いたら横になれるよ。
眠い。
よし、じゃあ今敷くからね。
As soon as the futon was on the ground, as flat as it would go, Sachiko sprawled out on it. It wasn't long before her eyes started drooping.
あーよ、布団だ。
Just seeing this innocent little girl joyously stretching out to take a nap was enough to lift my spirits and renew my hope.
幸子ちゃんがいてくれてよかった。ありがとうお姉ちゃん。こちらこそだよ幸子ちゃん。だって今ここにあなたがいてくれなかったら。
She really must have been tired. She was not like a light the second her head touched the bedding.
かわいいなもう。ゆかも寝よう。ずっと歩いてたし。目覚めたらお家だといいな。
I woke to find myself being shaken. Sachiko was trying to get me up, and her expression had gone white as a
お
sheet.
姉ちゃん。お姉ちゃん。何？
She was on the verge of tears. Something seemed to have really spooked her. Did that huge man find us? Was she
ど
attacked?
うしたの？落ち着いて話して。髪留めなくしちゃったの。髪留め？起きたらなかったの。なんだ、そんなことか。
そんなこと。
あ、ごめんね。もっと怖いことかと。
Uh-oh.
どこに落としたの？すぐ探せばあるよ、きっと。
Two of us searched every last inch of the room. Me was wounded, but we came up empty-handed.
幸子ちゃん、お姉ちゃんはどうすればいいかな。
The entire time we searched, Sachiko hadn't said a word. I was hoping invoking our sisterly bond might help cheer her up.
髪が目に入って痛い。その髪飾りちょうだい。
She raised her hand and slowly pointed at my hairband.
これはごめんね。これはあげられないの。
As soon as I refused, Sachiko let out a faint, otherworldly groan. Uh-oh. The next moment, her face distorted and changed. She no longer looked like the innocent little girl. She looked well and truly like a demon now.
幸子ちゃん？
よこせ。よこせ。
The look in her eyes alone sent chills down my spine. These were the eyes of someone who meant me harm, and was perfectly capable of inflicting it.
どうしよう。
Give her the headband. Sachiko was continuing to groan under her breath. Fearing what she might be capable of, I desperately tried to console her.
幸子ちゃん、聞いて、幸子ちゃん。これはお母さんに買ってもらったばかりの大事なものなの。だから。
お母さん？
Somehow or another, that seemed to quell her anger. Her facial expression snapped back to that of the gentle, kind girl I'd been talking to all this time.
そうなの。だからあげられなくてごめんね。
お母さんからの？
She was oddly receptive to this explanation, and seemed even fascinated by it. Maybe I caused her to remember something about her own mother. She was a little girl after all, so her mom was probably really dear to her in life.
お母さん、お母さん。
She looked like she was on the verge of tears again. It's beginning to feel bad that I'd even broached the subject.
ごめんね。
ううん、いいの。
She still seemed a bit sad, but she nodded. Maybe she understood that I wouldn't give her my headband, and maybe she was okay with it. Oh, okay. We just avoided death. So, where do we go now? That's a lot of hallways. Hi, welcome to the stream, Insomniac. How are you?
やっぱりすねちゃったのかな。お姉ちゃんらしくカチューシャをあげればよかったかな。でもこのカチューシャは。
I am not sure where to go. She wasn't even looking at me anymore. I must have really upset her.
あのね、幸子ちゃん。カチューシャはあげられないけど、他のものならいいよ。
他のもの？
うん、私にできることなんて少ないけど。
他のもの。じゃあ、ここ。
でもここは。 もう入りたくない。あ、幸子ちゃん。
Without a moment's hesitation, Sachiko just opened the door and walked right in. I didn't even have an opportunity to stop her.
どうしよう。
The first thing I noticed when I entered the room was Sachiko's form sprawled on the ground in front of the bloody pool. She was twitching a bit, moaning again. But this time it sounded more like a moan of pain than of anger.
幸子ちゃん？幸子ちゃん、大丈夫？幸子ちゃん。
I stepped over to her and turned around so as to put the decaying bodies behind my back and out of my sight, and started shaking her. I felt like I absolutely needed to snap her out of whatever this was, before something terrible happened.
お姉ちゃん。
よかった。気がつ。
I could feel her tiny cold hand on my abdomen, through the thin cloth of my skirt. She was pushing me backwards with tremendous force.
触るな。
I lost my balance almost instantly and toppled over. Somehow it felt like my fall occurred in slow motion. The walls and ceiling of the room grew more and more distant, and it happened gradually. Then I fell in the murky liquid on my back. Heard the splash. I was in the pool of bodies. Because I'd fallen backwards, it took me far too long to regain my bearings. I was submerged in that horrible, tainted water, close to drowning. I finally broke through the surface, dodging many dislodged eyeballs that were floating on it like peas in chicken soup. Each one wrapped in dull red, bulging veins. I didn't even want to think about what was in all the water I swallowed. Fortunately, much of it was still on my tongue. My mouth was filled with tiny bits and pieces of other human beings. This was overpowering. I was gagging, belching so hard it felt like I was going to regurgitate all my internal organs. I tried to scream, but I could barely get any sound past the foul, lumpy stew in my mouth. I was losing consciousness fast, and I remember silently praying, silently hoping that this was all just a dream. As the world faded around me, I just kept focusing on that one last wish. Please, let me wake up in my bed. I had no other choice. I grabbed Sachiko's outstretched arm and marveled again at her strength as she effortlessly pulled me out of the water. My entire body from head to toe was covered in sticky, goopy chunks of unidentifiable human flesh from countless different people.
お姉ちゃん、頭にも何かついてるよ。何か？
Slowly, hesitantly, I raised my hand to my head to feel around and determine what this something might be. Wasn't looking forward to the answer. What I felt was a huge clump of matter stuck to my hair, and just touching it lightly caused some of it to stick to my hands as well. It was a massive ball of fingers and toes.
やだー。お姉ちゃん、まだついてるよ。
The separate digits were also sticky and slimy that they'd gotten completely wrapped in my hair like rollers. They weren't coming out easily. 落ち着いてお姉ちゃん。お姉ちゃん。 I must have passed out. When I came to, I was lying on the ground with Sachiko looking over me.
お姉ちゃん、ごめんなさい。
She was on the verge of tears again. But wasn't that her voice I heard giggling at me? If not, then whose was it?
気のせいだったのかな。
That had to be it. This sweet little girl couldn't possibly have been that twisted.
大丈夫だよ。
I didn't care how filthy I was, as long as Sachiko was alright. That was all that mattered. Yes, she was my little sister now, after all. I had to take care of her. I had to look after her. You manipulative little shit.
お姉ちゃん遅いよ。
待って、幸子ちゃん。どうしちゃったんだろう。足が重い。
Somehow Sachiko wound up in the lead and I was following her blindly, struggling to keep up with her blistering pace.
お姉ちゃん汚い。もっと離れてよ。
I looked down at my uniform. Sure enough, it was soaked through with the blood of those poor victims in the body pool. It smelled really awful.
そうだよね。ごめんね。
I didn't recall saying that, or even trying to say that. It's like my mouth was moving on its own, speaking someone else's thoughts.
お姉ちゃんってほんとのろまだよね。
本当だね。
If this was how she was going to treat me, then why was I being so nice to her? Why was I doing whatever she asked of me? It was bothering me, and yet it wasn't. I honestly didn't care anymore. I was content just to follow this abusive little girl to the ends of the earth. How long had I been walking? I wondered.
幸子ちゃん、まだ歩くの？
I was following Sachiko despite myself. I had no idea how much time had passed, but it felt like an eternity. And she'd completely stopped answering any of my questions.
もういいや。
She came to a halt.
どうしたの？幸子ちゃん。
She turned and looked up at me with wide, innocent eyes.
幸子ね、欲しいものがあるの。
何？
What was it going to be this time? Honestly, didn't want to know, but the question came out of my mouth anyway. And so did this.
幸子ちゃんになら何でもあげるよ。
じゃあ次はね。命をちょうだい。
命？
Somehow, some part of me knew this was coming. It was only a matter of time.
それはダメし
Once again, I couldn't seem to control the words coming out of my mouth. It just said whatever it wanted to say, regardless of how I felt.
私の命あげるの？
She was laughing again. It was wild, crazy laughter. She was ecstatic.
どうして？何でもくれるんだよね。お姉ちゃんだもん。ね。
Sachiko's smile almost seemed to twinkle in the dull light of the corridor. She had the face of an angel. It was all just a mask.
怖い怖い怖い。やだよ。
I mustered all my strength I had, trying with whatever life was left in me to denounce her words and resist her pull. There was no hope for me anymore. I still clung to what I could. If I could just reject her statement and tell her she was wrong.
は
冗談はやめてね。早くお兄ちゃんを探そう。お兄ちゃんならきっと何とかしてくれるからね。だからお兄ちゃんを。
お兄ちゃん。
そうだよ。私はお兄ちゃんみたいになれないけど頑張るから。
お兄ちゃんお兄ちゃんってうるさいんだよ。早くよこせ。殺してやる。殺して首に殺してやる。
Yo, Sachiko's voice actress, though, awesome. Holy shit.
早く死ね
幸子ちゃん。
My body shook in spasm uncontrollably. I was being overtaken by an invisible force. It was compelling me to speak, to say what would be my very last words on this earth. A suicide note, when you get right down to it.
しょうがないな。いいよ。あげる。私の命。幸子ちゃんにあげる。
Holy shit. It was instantaneous. One single blow, my skull was cracked wide open, and blood splattered far and wide. I could feel blood trickling down trickling out from my nostrils and in my right ear. My brain was jutting out from inside my head, fully exposed to the air. But I was still conscious, and I can still feel everything. And she took a picture, god damn it. I saw a bright flash of light and realized she'd just taken my picture with that instant camera she'd been holding on to.
綺麗な写真が撮れた。いやしい女。
Sachiko was such a cute little girl before, but now her face was twisted into a hateful, spiteful grimace. She looked down at me in contempt.
そうだ、これお兄ちゃんに見せてあげよう。何でもくれるって言ったでしょ。もう私のお兄ちゃん。
Sachiko began petting my sticky, matted head with her coarse, sticky hands in mockery of my previous gentleness with her.
汚い顔。本当はこれを取り上げるのが目的だったんだよね。
I scrap of paper from the charm.
お姉ちゃんとはまた遊びたいから、ファクトにはしないであげる。また遊ぼうね、ゆかお姉ちゃん。
God damn! Wow. Okay. I'm gonna... Oh, achievement. I got all endings in chapter 6. Good stuff. See, we're only missing 2 for this. 2 for this. I wonder if there were any in that body pool that I missed. Oh. Have to look there another time. So, well, I'm gonna stop here. Next stream will be the last chapter, and depending on how long it is, we might do it in one go, or it might be two more streams to go. And this story's getting rough, though. Holy shit. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. So, thank you for joining, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if y'all want to. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye!